All right, all right, all right. Man, before we get started tonight, we've had a couple of losses. H, you want to start off? You want to start us off, bro?
Not really, man. I don't even want to go there right now.
All right,
I
man.
can't
Well,
even do it.
I'm gonna give a big shout out, man, to the homeboy Go Mac, man, from Above the Law. He passed away today. Want to give condolences to the homie, man. We gonna miss you, man. And our other homie, man, I'll let 8 do that when he ready, man. But we can't take life for granted, y'all. This life is too short for bullshit and everything else, man. We only here for a second. So let's
That's for
spend that
definite.
second. Let's spend that second being righteous,
For sure.
Glad to have you back, dog. Glad to have you back this week, man. Even not. I wish it wouldn't have been under those circumstances,
Yeah, shit happens, man, and it be just like sudden. You know, you can accept some type of shit. We all men, and we supposed to be stand strong and be built, but man, it's just some shit that happens, man, that you can't even. It just knocks you down. It should just be unexpected. I guess that would be the real killer about it. It'd be different when you know people and they going through some stages. You know what I'm saying? I mean, death is coming to us all, but when it's somebody that you just like that, like it's impossible, man. Like how? It's impossible. And then coming up like how we came up, man, you always expect it to be on some, oh, somebody shot my nigga, or somebody did this, or my nigga went to prison for 100 years or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
When it's on some like medical shit that you can't understand, that shit like it fuck with you, because that's the shit that take you suddenly. If a nigga out there on the block banging and serving or whatever, somebody might come by and try to hit you. That's the chances we used to take. You get me? But seeing you go through all of that and you make it to a certain age, and grandkids, and you chilling and whatever, and next thing you know, bam, you know what I'm saying? You get that phone call, and now you rushing to somebody's bedside. You feel me? That shit is crazy.
Yeah, it is, man. It is, man. We can't take it for granted, man. It's like in the blink of an eye. It's like literally, in the blink of an eye, man. 1 second you here, the next you gone, man. You know, we talk a lot about music, man. And me and you, we've had discussions on the show before about the music industry just being really cutthroat. Today, man, we got like sort of a detective. I like to call him a forensics expert.
Right.
The homie Goo, man. Goo, what's happening, man?
Hey, first off, my condolences to your loved ones.
Good looking, family.
Appreciate that. So, Gangu, let me ask you, man, your name is really unique, man. Gangu, what is that?
My grandfather named me. He was head of the household, man. I don't know. It's African or something. I mean, my grandfather died when I was in like 5th grade, but I never really got a resolve on it. But it stands out. It's unique. I guess it obviously it stands out. You know what I'm saying?
I bet you it means something
works.
Real powerful.
It works for me. It works for me.
Yeah, I bet you if your grandfather named you, it probably means something real powerful.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like an African witch doctor or something. I mean, that's the story I was told when I was. There was a whole story to it, but I forgot.
Well, I like to call Gangu a forensics expert. He like a detective. He like those cats on the first 48 to come in when the bread is messed up and not right. He's gonna come in and find it, and ain't no hiding it from him.
Right.
I do forensics on the royalty side, so I consider myself a forensics royalty specialist.
Now that means you don't been in some everybody's business then, because hip hop is one of those arts, man, where everybody got a horror story. Everybody done been robbed.
Yeah, man. I mean, I seen it all, man. I definitely seen it all, and it's going to continue. And, you know, I mean, it can happen purposely or even by mistake. You know, sometimes the system is just messed up too. You know what I'm saying? That's paying out, you know, bad software, you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, and it just spits out and you got to catch it.
Yeah. So how did you get into this business, man? Because this ain't, I worked in the publishing business, but your side is kind of different.
I mean, I grew up with some cats. I used to be around the Sugar Hill family. The father, you know, was trying to teach me tidbits on the royalty side. I would consider that he was pretty much an expert on the publishing and master side of the business and stuff. And, you know, when you come out of high school and a lot of people were just knocking on his door, basically coming by his studio trying to learn the music business. You know, he had the door open for a lot of people. He was teaching a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? My family knew his family, so I had an open door policy to deal with him. And, you know, he was able to, you know, I was able to learn a couple of things from him, even though, you know, I was learning stuff on my own and stuff, but he was able to, you know, add some seasoning to what I already knew. And then, you know, I was able to go out there on my own and try to, like, you know, just find, you know, my own resolve on issues. But it took a lot of ring experience, you know what I'm saying? It's like you can't jump into the fight, you know, against these experts. You're going to get beat up, you know, all around the ring, you know what I'm saying? So it took a lot of court cases, reading a lot of contracts, seeing a lot of pain, you know what I'm saying? Experiencing the pain, you know, gaining a lot of motion from your clients and stuff like that would motivate you. Reading a lot of books. You know, it took a little bit of everything to get where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Good lawyers, better lawyers. You know, it was just a bunch of ingredients. You know what I'm saying? That I ate. You know what I'm saying? That I ingested. I ingested a lot of ingredients. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And here I am now. You know what I'm saying?
What's the big, you know, I'm gonna jump right into it, man. What's the most scandalous case that you've seen, man, of just somebody taking advantage of somebody?
I mean, I got a couple, man. I mean, I've got numerous cases. I mean,
well, you know, we got our. I want to hear about them, man, because I think it's important.
Yeah,
for the younger generation to realize how to protect themselves.
I had a client one time back in 2010 or something like that, 2011. This lady Venus Dotson. She had a tax bill for 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? And make a long story short, you know, she was like, why would I have a 6-figure tax bill? You know what I'm saying? Like I never even made no money in the industry like that. You know what I'm saying? Basically, say for example, somebody took MC EIHT's name and was taking, basically somebody was taking MC EIHT's checks and cashing MC EIHT's checks under his government name. So say if MC EIHT's with BMI ASCAP or something like that, or he was getting writer checks under his government name, somebody was cashing their checks and getting the checks cashed under their government name, but you'd have to pay the tax bill because it's under your government name. The checks were for you. They just got redirected to somebody else's mailbox so they could cash them. You know what I'm saying? So that's happened often. To I know a few clients that that's happened to. I mean, obviously the Bjg Pun case was messed up. I mean, you know, I think people know by now. You know, I met the Pun family in the homeless shelter. You know, she was receiving fake royalty statements for 14 years. You know, had to take people to court over that. You know what I'm saying? Had to take Joe to court over that and his publisher to prove that the royalty statements that she was receiving was fake for 14 years, from about 2014 to 2015 or somewhere around there. She was receiving fake royalty statements to keep her unrecouped while they were really cashing her checks.
Wow. So he was sending her fake statements, like statements he made up of his own that weren't.
Well, he was telling his publisher to make fake royalty statements so they could whack up the money.
Okay. Wow. So you would rather see your man, because, you know, he talks about Pun with very high regard, and it's kind of crazy that you would allow your homeboy's family to stay in the homeless shelter and when you have money for him.
I mean, it was a game of greed. I think he created somebody so spectacular that he just felt that, like, that artist was his no matter what. That not even from inheritancy. Like, that's not yours, that's mine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that just seems like that was the mentality. You know what I'm saying? He didn't care that, like, just imagine she's like, hey, Joe, you know, what's up with the money? There's no money. Okay, hey, Joe, I need to pay rent. I got Pun's crib. I'm about to lose it. There's no money. Hey, Joe, I'm living at my friend's house with the kids. Anything up with the money? There's no money. Hey, Joe, I'm living in a homeless shelter. Like, anything with the money? There's no money. You know what I'm saying? So he actually saw the transition of all of that happen, and he still was sending her fake royalty statements.
So he didn't care because you got a $2 million, right?
I mean, I found 2.3 in the I paid an auditor. We found $2.3 million missing during discovery, and it wasn't even all the discovery. You know, they were missing pages in the discovery, you know, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we could have took it to trial and found more money and stuff like that for sure. But, you know, we had, you know, there was a choice to, you know, basically went to mediation. You know what I'm saying? And we got the catalog back from him, and basically the publisher was getting 25% due to the fact that he bought into the copyright due to advance, and then the other 75% was 37.5, half for Joe and half for the Pun estate. And we were able to get, you know, Joe's portion back because he got all the blame in court. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, he didn't pass over the money when he got it.
You know what? And this ain't me, man, on here trying to smear Joe, man, because
no, not at all. Just the reality.
He's not the only one. It's just reality. It's just the truth, man. The truth sometimes is bad. You know, you would think though, because he talks about that man with very high regards, you would think ain't no way he gonna allow his man's wife and his babies to starve. You feel what I'm saying?
You know, I mean, he had the options and he took advantage of whatever option he had to go left or right. You know what I'm saying? and you know, I'm just glad that I was able to prove that the royalty statements were fake, because maybe even to this day they'd probably be sending her fake royalty statements. You know?
Yeah. You know, it seemed like, man, during the early days of hip hop, it was a lot of that going on, and I think that was just because that was the status quo kind of. You know, you sign somebody, you take their publishing, they don't really get no money outside of what they get on the road, and that's it. They kind of, you know, go into oblivion or whatever, right?
It's happened to the best of them. I've seen Run DMC in court with Steve Plotnicki Profile Records because Steve Plotnicki was sending Run DMC fake royalty statements.
Run DMC, and they one of the biggest groups in the world.
I mean, yeah, but they also got a lot of licenses, like Christmas holiday records and all that type stuff. You know what I mean? The guy was able to maneuver and
all kind of shit.
Yeah, the guy was able to maneuver all kind of shit. Yeah, and they even lost the court case. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, they had lack of knowledge and lack of technique to how to fight a veteran like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this guy's experienced. In my opinion, it just seems like he don't like paying black people. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion. And I mean, that's from my experience, because I took him to court before too and stuff like that. And I mean, everybody I know that's black is getting manipulated from him somehow, some way. You know, there's a whole complaint board on him basically from artists that call me. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, Rob Bass was signed over there. I think DJ Quick signed to Profile Records, Camp Low. Yeah, but I don't know what Quick's problem is. Never spoke to him about it. But I'm just saying. But he's one of those guys that in his contracts he didn't give out publishing. He was just giving out royalty. You didn't have publishing. You was just getting royalty. You know,
so you didn't get no publishing like that. You know what?
A lot of labels were like that.
We wasn't getting. Yeah, I didn't get publishing, even though it was there. I didn't know shit about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're all young. Hey, bro, I would have signed the same contract they did just because I know what I know now. Back then, being so and so age, I would have signed the same contract. You know what I'm saying? So I'm no genius at 18, 20 years old. You know what I'm saying?
You know what the thing is, though, Gangu and EIHT. Nobody can give you your publishing. That is your right. The moment you go in, that's your intellectual property. The moment you go in and write over the beat or whatever, it's supposed to be a marriage between the producer and the artist, the writer.
Sure,
you know, you got the producer that's supposed to get, you know, y'all both joint holders of that copyright, right? Can't nobody give you no publishing unless somebody was writing all your raps for you.
I'm just saying, bro, but we're 18, 20 years old. We don't, you know, we're thinking that 40 something, 50 years old now, you know what I'm saying? 50 something years old, 18, 19, 20 years old, you know, signing the Bad Boy or something like that, or whatever label to where they get a piece of your publishing and stuff like that. I mean, number one, you're pretty intrigued by the advance. You know what I'm saying? At 18, 19 years old, you see the advance. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get a little piece of the publishing. You don't even know what that pretty much means at 18, 19 years old. You know what I'm saying?
No, you don't, man. But you know what?
Yeah, and you just running with it. I mean, I hear a lot of people argue about Puff now at 40 years old, 40 something years old, because they're older now. They realize what the value of the publishing is. Now they understand that. Oh, I lost a piece of my real estate. And, you know, but just think that even happened to Biggie. The guy had a piece of Biggie too. I mean, it doesn't matter how big you are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It happens to the best of them. You know what I'm saying? You could be the Michael Jordan of the rap game at the end of the day. But when you're 18, 19, you signed this contract. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's better that than getting the royalty at the same time. I mean, you know, at least it transcended from the royalty stage to where you get your own publishing entity. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How prevalent was that? Like with what's one of the older labels, man? One of the premier labels. What was the label Kane was signed to?
Yeah, Coachellin. I mean, I got Coachellin clients and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? We got terminations and got them the entity back and stuff like that. It was like I said, that was pretty much a template of the 80s. You know what I'm saying? That was just the 80s template. But once again, 18, 19 years old. Shantae was 15, 16 when she signed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what? Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? What do you know with that? 16 years old. Hey, I'm supposed to have all my publishing, my copyright's supposed to be like this and like this. Like, man, I'd be like, get her out the room. You know what I'm saying?
Like, why?
So,
like, well,
she wouldn't, you know, that much back then, you wouldn't even have a deal. I get you out the room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll call you.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll hit you later on because you know too much. You about to cause some problems.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, man, I'm just glad that, you know, these people graduated, you know what I'm saying, to be the people who they were in the business. You know, a lot of these people are soundtracks of my childhood and teenage years, high school years and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's when you're that age, you don't really know the stories like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this person's not getting paid like that and stuff like that. You're more like 17, 18. Look at them like a superhero. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, and like we talked about earlier off the air, it's not always just some big evil executive somewhere that's just taking stuff. Sometimes it's a case of people not understanding business as well. You know, like you said, you get an advance and you spend money. People spend money on putting your record out and certain things, and you know, you may assign a piece of your publishing where I think it kind of is a gray area as when you just do somebody wrong from lack of knowledge and you don't explain to them, hey, we're doing this deal. I'm going to put your record out, but in exchange, you're going to give me 20% of your publishing. That means this. You give somebody a choice. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I feel you, but I just think in this business, this game is for keeps. You know what I'm saying? That's the mentality. It's for keeps. I mean, just think, bro. I mean, just think in the 60s, Roulette, Morris Levy, you know, guys like that throughout the era, the tradition just gets passed on. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just like, yo, here's the handbook. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, okay, I was going through a situation with Puffy one time, right? Back in like 2021. He called my house. He called my cell up when I was hanging, you know, doing whatever in my living room and stuff like that. And he was just like, basically like, yo, man, like, you see any discrepancies? Don't call my lawyer. Don't call my publisher. Just call me. This is my cell number. just call me. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at it like, oh shit, like this is the big homie, because I used to be a bad boy all the time. Like, oh, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna call you. I'll call you. Like, you know what I'm saying? He had me like half hypnotized. Like, okay, like I'll just call you about it. You know what I'm saying? And my client was pissed. My client was like, yo, man, like I know he's playing me and all this stuff, my money, this and that. So Puff called him up, right? And when I spoke to my client, I was like, yo, so what'd y'all talk about? He said, yo, you know what Puff said to me? I was like, what'd he say to you? He said, hey, man, I'm just doing what the white man taught me.
See, that's not, you know what, man? I can understand young cats doing something together and don't nobody know what's going on. But You can't take bad habits, dog. If your father used to beat your mama, that don't mean you beat your wife when you get married. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
That don't mean you keep some, bad habits going on and jumping off. I don't think that's an excuse, man. I've always thought that publishing is an artist's legacy, bro. That's mailbox money, because hip hop is not like rock and roll. Hip hop has a problem with ageism.
Absolutely.
Very much so. So it's not like rock and roll to where you're going to continue to be able to put out records on a major label at a high level and get big advances. No. Eventually, you're going to be putting records out on your own. If you're putting them out at all,
right.
You'll probably still go on tour, but that's supposed to be like your mailbox money. So when you get older, man, you got that, that publishing coming. We got guys that have really big records, man, that's not getting their publishing.
I mean, I see a lot of times. I just had a case today. Like I told you, I went through 6 boxes of contracts today. I flew in from DC to go to Maryland. My client drove from Virginia to Maryland to meet up with me and my lawyer at the lawyer's office. We were in the conference room going through contracts, right? And it's an estate. They inherited it. They inherited this estate of works and stuff like that. And when the grandfather died, who did all this work, when the grandfather died, his granddaughter inherited. So when the grandfather died, the manager turned around, the Jewish guy manager turned around and claimed it was all his. And he was selling, he was selling off the publishing. Like, yeah, give me $100,000 for these 3 songs and this and that, so I can live in Beverly Hills and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know what angle is coming from. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when you inherit stuff, like, you're not going to know. Like, if EIHT passed away and I talked to one of his relatives and I say, hey, like, well, EIHT owed me money, and they're not going to know as much as EIHT did because he was hands-on with the business. You know what I'm saying? The estate could be manipulated. This guy was manipulating. He was controlling. This guy died in 1980. He was controlling everything from 1980 to like 1996. So
what artist was it?
No, this is a guy named Lincoln Chase. He sampled a lot, Jay-Z, Mariah Carey, Heartbreaker, and stuff like that. He got a lot of works and stuff like that gets sampled and stuff like that. But all I'm saying is that, it's not just hip hop that I do and stuff like that. This was like, I do jazz. I got a whole bunch of clients and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like, what I'm saying is that,
shit, when you're doing work like that,
you
got to be able to. You got to be able to broaden your horizons when you fucking with different type of people. When you can prove that you can do that type of different shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. You know what I'm saying? My work is diverse. So all I'm saying is that there's so many different ways to try to get stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of forgeries in the business. You know what I'm saying? I think I might have said before, like, here's one trick that goes down, but by veterans. You know what I'm saying? I can are you ASCAP or BMI?
I'm BMI. Nigga stole my publishing.
Okay, hey, well, okay, so what you can do is this.
I basically, my first ever contract, I think I was 17, 18. I signed a contract with Bjg Productions.
Oh, Big Beat Atlantic, Big Beat something.
Not Big Beat Atlantic.
Okay.
Big Beat Atlantic was Craig Kalman. This was a nigga named Unknown. Out of Detroit. He had an independent record label called Techno Hop. That's where I got my first shot at.
Oh, wow.
And so when I signed a deal with him, because he basically had a deal on the table with Capitol, Orpheus. And so I had to sign to him, but I never signed a publishing deal. What he did was he took a publishing contract and stapled it to the back of my recording contract.
Okay.
And that's how he was able to take my publishing on the first 2 records.
What year was this?
This was like 90.
That might be able to be resolved these days. Okay.
Then people look at it as, people look at it from his side, probably like, nigga, you had to pay your dues. So look at that as paying your dues, right? Where would you be if a nigga would have never put you out? What would you be if a nigga never decided to, drop a record on you or whatever?
This is CMW?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, CMW on my first 2 projects.
CMW.
I didn't start probably getting publishing until
So was that for the group or was just you?
I wrote everything.
Oh, the other okay.
Nobody wrote nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote all the lyrics. Nobody. One nigga did the beats and one nigga did the raps, and that was me. I wrote all the raps for the group.
Oh man.
So
I talked to you behind the scenes.
right.
Okay.
So yeah, the nigga stapled a publishing contract to the back of the little record, and that's how he was able to go to that's how he was able to go get a publishing deal. He went and got a publishing deal with a motherfucker, and he only gave me some chump change. I think the deal was for like $100 grand. The nigga gave me some shit I could blow my nose with.
Right.
You feel me? And
he kept $5,000
around that. And he got about it was probably about $100,000 publishing deal. And the nigga gave me about $5 grand and he kept the rest.
All right, how old were you then?
Oh shit, I was about 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. We don't know no better. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to rap, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know about publishing and
you was getting show money?
No. I wasn't even getting show money yet. I was just glad that I had a record out.
Okay.
I hadn't even begun to start touring. I really didn't start touring until my second album. I didn't tour at all.
Second album was CMW or solo?
CMW.
Okay.
First album is a Compton thing. I didn't do no touring off of that. We sold about close to 200 and something thousand records on this Compton thing. And that was through Orpheus Capital. And then they folded. And so we ended up getting picked up by Sony because Orpheus got picked up on a deal with Sony. And so Orpheus had a deal with Big Beat, which was who I was signed to.
Okay.
But again, I'm writing everything. That all the raps on all those CMW and MC EIHT solo projects, I wrote all them raps. Nobody ghost wrote none of that.
What made you go solo after the second album?
The label. My nigga Chill kept going to jail, and they didn't want to keep pushing the CMW line when there was no CMW. It was just me and the DJ. Wow. Chill was going in and out of jail all the time. So it was just me. I was doing all the songs. I was writing all of them. I was doing all the videos by myself. But I'm still going by Compton's Most Wanted. They felt probably it was better to just break off and just deal with me as a solo artist.
Less of a liability.
Less of a liability.
I can see that from a branding aspect.
What you say, Steel?
I see a plus from a branding aspect because it was very, not confusion, but I used to think Compton's Most Wanted was just another name for you.
Exactly.
There was never nobody else rapping. You was always the only one rapping.
I was always, like I said, when you heard, like you really didn't hear Chill on songs because
he was on Growing Up in the Hood though, right?
He was on the first version, and then we did a remix, and he wasn't on there. We did the original version. I wrote the lyrics. We cut the song. We were still street niggas then. So niggas was getting in trouble still. Chill went to jail that night after we left the studio. So when it was time to go do the radio version, he wasn't around. So I had to do it by myself because we had just cut the original song for the soundtrack. And then it blew up so good that they wanted to push it on the radio. So I had to go back in and do a radio version. And then Sony, who I was signed to, they was like, well, shit, we want our piece. So they turned around and put out a maxi single with a whole remix, a whole different beat to Growing Up in the Hood.
Oh.
It was like 3 different versions of Growing Up in the Hood. We got 3 different versions. We got the original with me and Chill. Right. Then there's radio version with just me. And then there's the More Bounce remix with just me.
Wow.
So, but I never decided to go solo. Like, that was pushed by the label. They was like, man, why push Compton's Most Wanted when Compton's Most Wanted is you?
But that was a dope name too, though. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But they probably figured, and you know, this was around the time where image and names was everything. Mm-hmm. We was already scaring niggas because we was young niggas, black with jerry curls and khaki suits and shit like that. So they probably figured we would catch less bullshit if we go from Compton's Most Wanted to MC EIHT. You get me? Mm-hmm. MC EIHT ain't Compton's Most Wanted. Even though he's Compton's Most Wanted, when you hear that name push first, it's more relaxing than presenting Compton's Most Wanted on somebody. You feel me? And that's just how
less aggressive.
It's easier to go to radio with, hey, here's this MC EIHT single than here's this Compton's Most Wanted single. You get me?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And they probably was figuring.
Go ahead, Steel.
You wasn't locked up with them under no contract, was you?
With who?
As a solo artist?
With Sony?
Yeah.
Yeah. After I did Compton's Most Wanted, they restructured the deal to just an MC EIHT solo deal.
Hey, question. Would you recall, like, you know, you being in an aggressive group like that, would you recall if they had life insurance in your contract?
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure. I had one of the old school contracts, nigga. It was 100 pages.
Yeah, I got clients.
I ain't reading that shit.
Yeah, nigga, you're young. Yeah. But probably.
And then, like, the representation back then would, like, you know, it was just shady. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody want their piece. Sign here.
I unfortunately, you know, came across a motherfucker who was, you know, he was out for the money himself. You know, nigga didn't teach me anything as an older motherfucker who was a lawyer, who was a motherfucking, you know, who had been through the business. He used to work for Stax Records back in the days. So you would think that a motherfucker would school you on the ills of the record business and publishing and record. That nigga didn't give a fuck.
You know, he might have
all he wanted was every time a check came in, where's my piece? Where's my piece? And then, like you said, in the long run, he was still in my publishing because he had an attorney-client trust account.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So my BMI checks, my Sony royalty checks would go to him.
Yeah.
And because he had that a client trust account, he could just deposit the motherfucker into his bank account.
Right.
And bingo, like, nigga, I hadn't seen a royalty check I just started receiving BMI checks. And then, nigga, I hadn't seen a royalty check from Sony in who knows when. Same type of Angie Stone shit. Nigga, I ain't seen a check in a billion years. And then one day the motherfuckers called me and was like, hey, EIHT, we've been looking for you. So I don't know if they trying to cover their own ass or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think they're trying to cover their ass because they really, when motherfuckers start calling them about that other shit, you know.
I've taken BMI to court before over forged signatures and checks being cashed from, you know, by other parties and stuff like that. It's, you know,
I had no
idea. They be sleep behind the wheel sometimes, you know.
I was on the court on some other shit.
Mm-hmm.
And motherfuckers say you made like about 60 last year. you know, in royalties or whatever. I'm like, no, I didn't. Nigga, I ain't seen a motherfucking nigga. Bitch broke out paperwork. Like, here's a check, here's a check, here's a check. Nigga, I'm looking at a nigga like, where them checks at? Because they never came to me.
Right.
Nigga was cashing the motherfuckers. Nigga was cashing them. He was feeling like he would never get caught. You get me?
Right.
You know, he would never get caught. And that's what happened. And that's how we fell out.
Right. Well, it's a blessing.
I haven't heard from the nigga since. That was some decades ago. You get me? You know, so
you think he's still alive?
I doubt it.
Right. Okay.
His son's still alive. I talked to his son.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I doubt it. He was sickly back then, getting sickly. Like I said, he was older. He was sickly, wheelchair, all that type of shit. So I wouldn't know if he passed or not, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's not functioning, you know, either way.
So what Sony did, they just stopped sending the checks out.
Yeah.
I guess they started, you know, they got to the point where they wanted verification of who they were sending the money to. Yeah. And so when you can't send a nigga a copy of your motherfucking driver's license, and you can't send a nigga no notarized copy and signature of this and that, they just stopped paying the checks. And then they contact me 20 years later.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It should be time for you to get those masters back now. Hey, you should be getting those catalog back. Yeah,
my first CMW works, you know what I'm saying? All of that is pre like 92, 93. So, you know,
you can file now on the master end.
Straight check, music to drop, all them early projects, man.
Sony's gonna they're not gonna want to give you the master back. They're gonna want to renegotiate and give you a higher royalty.
I've been getting emails from them about, oh, we want to repress the Straight Trekking album. Mm-hmm. Oh, we want to, you know, they using their little side companies.
The legacy department. Legacy.
There you go. Yeah,
I know.
That's who contacted me, the legacy department. Mm-hmm. So like they got a dude who calls me and who tells me when I'm getting checks and all of that. Like yeah, they try, and that's what I said they was gonna do. They don't want to get his shit up.
No, because I'm going through that with Sony right now.
It's still going through their channels. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's still going through their channels, which means that whatever they collecting is still going to their bank account, and they still collecting interest and all that.
All these labels are in a fight for market share, and they really don't want to give nothing up. They want to keep market share. You know what I'm saying? They want to keep all these records. They want to keep. It's a market share war between these companies. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing with legacy artists too, legacy artists are profitable.
Mm-hmm.
They've already been marketed already. And hey, can you imagine how much
you're cost efficient?
Yeah. Can you imagine how much money you would make if you started getting all your old albums, straight checking them, and music to drive by, you pressing them up yourself, selling them on a website? You could sell music to drive by probably for $100, bro, if you wanted to.
Yeah, probably. Well, the thing is that, I mean, yeah, you could that would be one option, or the second option is that you get your masters back, and then you just get them you just do a licensing deal with them, like a 90-10. Like, yeah, just keep it in the loop, but I get 90% now. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you already got the pipeline going. You know what I'm saying?
Keep it in the pipeline. Yeah. But I want 90% of my music now.
Yeah. Well, let's do a 90-10 now. You know what I'm saying? Instead of me getting I got 10 points in the artist royalty deal.
Right.
Yeah, now like screw that, man. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man.
I don't want to hear that point shit.
You're pretty much a commodity.
You know what I'm saying? It's for the birds, man.
Hey, I got Sony guys like you that I found millions for in the audit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just due to the fact that you signed the pre-digital contract, all that DSP, all that streaming shit, they owe you 50% through the licensing.
Exactly.
So if you're getting 10 points right now, you're actually being underpaid 5 times under than what you're supposed to be getting 5 times more of the money through streaming, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, right now.
We ain't had no deal for digital.
Yeah, exactly.
We were just doing CDs and motherfucking LPs.
Bro, you do an audit right now?
We wasn't doing. We didn't have no type of deal.
How many albums you do? How many albums you do through the Sony system?
Oh shit!
Like
at least 20 million.
No. How many albums did you do?
Oh, I did like shit. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. I did like 6 albums for Sony.
Bro,
you was like the face of Sony when it came to rap for a long time.
I did like 6 albums for Sony.
I need to call you after this, man. Yeah.
Well, the thing was, do you remember a few years ago I told you I had a dude that was gonna help you out with get your stuff done? This him right here.
I did a straight check and I'm
I mean, you did two CMWs and you did like 4. You did like 4 solo. You did like 4 solo, right?
Yeah. I did 1 CMW because the first CMW album was on Orpheus Capitol. That was on Capitol Records.
Okay, so Universal owns that then now. Universal for Capitol, so that's Universal. Right.
So, but I did straight checking them. I did Music to Drive By, We Come Strapped, Death Threats, and Last Man Stand. I did 5 albums with some. Yeah.
You need to holler at them.
And none of those was for streaming and digital.
Yeah, exactly. Pre-digital contract. Yeah, you need to holler at you. All of a sudden you're gonna pop up with 7 figures on the audit for sure. I can guarantee you. I got a client that did 2 albums with Sony. He been dead 20-something years, and we found like almost 3 million on him.
Pre-digital. I like that word. I like that word, Steele.
Yeah, I told you, dog. Shit, I'm dependent. I told you, you need to go get all that, dog.
Yes, indeed.
They ain't no telling what they out there and don't collect it. Now, Goo, you always hear rumors and stuff. I heard that Biz Markie is. You would think that you would think Biz Markie wouldn't hurt a fly, dog. I heard Biz was the most scandalous dude in the world when it came to publishing.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes. You know what I'm saying? I've gotten co-partners and other people like that he didn't abide by contractually. He didn't give them their divvy. You know what I'm saying? And it's a catch me if you can type thing now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's quite unfortunate. I don't really think the wife understands what the catalog that she's holding. There's money owed and stuff like that. It just matters if she might feel like that she's a victim now because so many people trying to holler at her about the money and stuff like that. But she just I think she got to come to an understanding that he just didn't abide by his agreements. You know what I'm saying? He was supposed to give one client I know, I think they had a production company together, like a 70-30 or 60-40 or something like that. And he never got royalty one. He never got a cent from one record. Never got acknowledged for one record ever done. You know what I'm saying? Through the Biz Markie catalog. You know what I'm saying?
I don't understand that, man.
A lot of sample related stuff. Biz Markie's probably the most. I would take a guess and say he probably made the most money for co-chilling as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Just due to the fact that he was probably sampled a little bit more than some other guys. Like Mario had Just a Friend R&B record. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. A lot of revenue was made through Biz Markie. You know what I'm saying? I can't guarantee that he was the biggest royalty-wise there, but there was a lot of money being made. He also had other artists under there. Granddaddy IU, Diamond Shell. I think Kid Capri had his first album through there. Maybe a couple other people. You know what I'm saying? But
Biz put Granddaddy IU on.
Yeah, that was his artist.
Yeah,
Granddaddy IU was hard in the motherfucker, dog.
Yeah. Granddaddy IU was signed to us. He came through Epic Street when I was over there.
Yes, the second album.
Yep.
The second album, he came to Epic. So he came to Epic. Yep, exactly. Good memory. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Granddaddy IU was hard, man.
I mean, he died trying to chase the royalty. I was trying to help him, then all of a sudden I heard he passed away. You know what I'm saying? Now, Warner owns the master end of co-chilling. Fly Ty sold the publishing portion because he was allowed to, because he controlled the copyright because no one had a publishing entity. He sold that to Charles Copperman, a company called CAC Music. Charles Copperman.
How much you think he got for it?
I have no idea, but I spoke to Charles.
He got some M's for it, dog. Because he got some
Charles Copperman told me that he felt like he highly benefited from the Fly Tie deal. You know what I'm saying? But he died when I was talking to him. We were negotiating, trying to get Granddaddy U his money. All of a sudden he passed away. You know what I'm saying? So we're fighting to try to get the publisher and now for the artist.
Where's Fly Tie at now?
I have no idea. I think one of my clients yesterday said they saw him at a party last year. I would assume he's somewhere around New York.
Them dudes made a lot of money, though, didn't they?
Yeah, but you know, that money might have came and went. I think he sold that catalog in the late 90s or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he probably should have held on to that.
So, yeah.
You know what?
Marley Marl was over there.
Mm-hmm.
Marley Marl was, Marley Marl was the co-chilling producer pretty much.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not getting what he's supposed to get, dog, because he built for a while. He was just the man out there.
Yeah, Marley Marl was he might have been the only producer over there, right? 8 for a while, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't remember anybody else for a while.
Hold down the whole car over there.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Okay, he was one of them. You come through cold chilling, your beats getting done by Marley Marl. That was all of them. Shantae, Biz, Cool G, motherfucking Craig G,
Kane,
motherfucking Kane, yeah. Yeah, they all went through Marley Marl.
Yeah, Marley's House of Hits. He had the studio in upstate New York.
Let me ask you this, bro.
Then he came out with Lords of Underground, off Cold Chillin', you know.
Right.
Mm-hmm. When you have guys like that, man, see, his most lucrative years were back then. It's not like he's producing a lot of hip hop records right now. So I think it's very important.
His catalog is crazy though, bro. Marley's catalog is crazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Crazy.
He got some joints, man. And think about it now. Think about how many people don't went back
publishing
to sample his records.
I don't know if he got points. I don't know if Fly Tie gave him points, but publishing wise, a lot of people sampled his stuff, man. Nas, this person, that person, this person, that person. So he got extended catalog. You know what I mean? He might have another 80 records just from sample-related records, derivatives.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. You think about it like this. Hey, he was the man.
Oh, definitely.
I guess would you consider him like the East Coast Dre at one point?
Oh, hell yeah, I would say so.
Around that time, yeah. He touched a lot of motherfuckers and shit. Like you said, a lot of niggas done spunt off from his type.
Cool J Mama said knock you out?
Killer shit, like killer shit, like undeniable shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the man. He really was the sound of New York kind of for a long time. It was like, and they was bumping that everywhere.
I honestly, I don't know anybody bigger at that time. I mean, there was competitors, Herbie Lovebug and guys like that, but they weren't Marley Marl. You know what I'm saying? I mean, God bless him. But Marley Marl was getting all the work.
Yeah, Herbie Lovebug was just more or less known for everybody kind of had their own producers back then. Everybody kind of had their own look. Like,
oh yeah, you went to your people's shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go outside the box. You know, once a nigga turned you on to a producer, that was it. You roll with that producer and shit. You didn't try to go like, we wasn't big on that. You know, back in the days, like, oh, he doing beats and he doing beats and he doing beats. No, we considered that like within the crew. You get me? I'm the rapper, he the DJ, he the beat maker, he the motherfucking muscle, and then that's how we roll. And so projects, we don't go like, oh, you heard that new Cube album or the new NWA or blah, 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 and go, oh, we need to go get it. Dre was hard. But we didn't go, yeah, we need to go get a beat from Dre.
Oh, so you weren't thinking nothing like that.
We didn't go, Pooh was hard, but we didn't go, we need to go get a beat from Pooh. You get me?
Y'all had Slip.
Slip handles this shit. Slip handles the production.
Right.
So there's no ifs, ands, or buts, you know. Slip can do anything a motherfucker need to be done. So we don't need to go get them. Because Slip can do just as good. And so that's how it was settled. We didn't run around trying to, because we wanted to keep our sound. You get me? And back then, we were very high on not fucking with the formula. You get me? Like, you don't fuck with the formula. Slip drums. That's what he does. Like, we're not gonna turn, we wasn't big back then on having our album sounding all over the place.
What did y'all use back then? Like an SP12 or MPC?
Slip used the SPN. Once the MPs came, he used the MP. The Slip was an SP1200 master. And he was one of those motherfuckers who would dig in the crates. You get, I'm gonna find shit. I'm not gonna automatically go to what the supposedly sound is. You get me? Everybody was using the Funkadelics and the motherfucking Funky Worms and the Party and the George Clintons and the Fatbacks, and everybody was using that shit. We wanted to be different. Like, I don't want to rap on what everybody rapping on. It's so cliche type bullshit. So Slip came up with our own sound.
You got to think about too. Slip was really digging in them crates because y'all had samples. Y'all was the first one to come out with certain samples. Then I would hear a few years later other cats, flipping them samples. Y'all had some shit.
So wait,
what you say?
So Slip was even doing the production when you went solo?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When I went solo, we used to split production. We have formed a production team, Half Ounce Productions, and we used to split productions. Slip used to do half of the record, and I used to do the other half. Or
so you was touching it up too after a while.
I didn't play keys, but I had
you was producing.
I was producing. I had all the equipment in my studio, and I would bring in a dude to play bass lines and play whatever. And then after he would lay that, and I would 2-track it or whatever, I'd turn around and come up with the drum track.
Right. Wow.
That's how I did my music. And if I wanted some of that extra difficult shit, I let Slip do it.
Right.
Slip knew how to cut and chop, and Slip would take a motherfucking voice and make a whole beat out of the motherfucking shit. He made a motherfucking beat out of a commercial we heard on TV. Nigga, we was sitting up loaded one night, and that's how he came up with Straight Checking Them.
Is that right?
Nigga,
hey, don't say what commercial that is in case you're
See, I ain't said what commercial it is yet. I'm just saying, but yeah, nigga chop the motherfucker up like nigga like a motherfucking sushi chef, nigga. Right. Chop shit up, nigga. I came back a couple of hours later, nigga, and he was banging that shit. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, this nigga crazy as a he was creative. You didn't get a lot of niggas like that. Like I said, a lot of niggas was simple with their beat making. Slip was a creative motherfucker. You feel me?
You know what?
That's
the thing with Slip too.
Ambition, bro.
He didn't whore himself out either, because he probably could have had some hell of a placements back then, because y'all was big, dog.
We did our thing. Like I said, we just was one of those. We was one of those groups who just fell in between the cracks on certain shit. Niggas didn't know what to do with us. You get me? You
knew what to do. You lasted 6 projects. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
well, back
you could have came in like that, bro.
Back then that was the era. If you sold enough records, you get another record. And then back then, we was having 7 album record deals, and
bro, you fulfilled. Bro,
you had to just be. But see, my thing was I sold records for Sony. You get me? My records would go 450, 380.
In that era,
that was significant for my type of shit, because we don't even fuck with this type of shit. And look what's happening. We're selling fucking 500,000 records.
No marketing money.
They wasn't doing shit for me. They wasn't doing a goddamn thing for me. Just off the strength of shit like Yo MTV Raps and Source Magazine. That's where they knew where to go, because they knew at that time everybody was thumbing through the Source, everybody was watching The Basement or Rap City, and so they just put me on there. Let's have an interview on Rap City. Let's put his face inside the Source magazine and bing bing. That's how I sold records. And just the word.
Were you able to extend overseas a little bit from any of that notoriety?
I just came back from overseas.
Oh, really?
He just came back from Europe last week.
Oh, okay.
I go overseas at least once every 2 years.
Okay. You still do the CMW music too?
That's all they want to hear. They don't want to hear no new shit.
No, I'm saying besides the solo stuff, you still do the CMW?
Yeah, I do all CMW shit. When I go on tour, I do everything from the CMW era that crosses over into the MC EIHT solo era. So, right. But everybody still look at it as it's still one thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You say Countess Most Wanted, you can say MC EIHT, but at the end of the day, they're all in one. You get me? When you listen to Countess Most Wanted records, you're not hearing two people. You only hear me. Even though we were Compton's Most Wanted, I kept that going until Sony decided we ain't gonna do that no more. But I never thought about going from Compton's Most Wanted to MC EIHT. If I'd have had my way, I'd still be going CMW to this day.
Wow.
You know what's funny, man? I remember you talk about the Source magazine. I remember, man, I had the Source and I was reading the Source. You know, that was the Bible back then.
Exactly.
And they had a big ad in there, man, for music to drive by. And I went and bought that CD from Tower in Lakewood. Mm-hmm. Either Tower or what was the warehouse music across the street from Lakewood Mall?
You went to Warehouse.
Yeah, the Warehouse. Because
the one that was across the street from the mall right there.
Yeah, because I was in the mall.
It was on Candlewood. Yeah. It was on Candlewood once you go into right. Yeah.
I was in the Barnes and Noble reading the Source, right? Because Maria was shopping, my wife was shopping. We were kids back then, right? And I said, this is hard because the album cover just really caught my eye, right? I went from there and we was on the way back to the crib. I stopped at the Warehouse, bought that and something else.
Yeah, that's how we did.
Now you on the Source, cover the Source.
I was on the cover of the Source twice. I had the solo cover, and then I had the cover with me, Spice, and Scarface.
Gangsta rap. They said the show, the Menace is a gangster rap.
Yeah.
Yes. That's basically was my marketing.
This is the 94 issue with you and there's a 95 one.
Right. Wow. I did the 94 edition right after I did Music to Drive By. That album was in 93. So I got on the cover with Face and Spice for that one. But yeah, that was the way they marketed me. They didn't go to radio. They didn't go to advertising on radio or, paying a motherfucker to play my song 10 million times. They said, fuck that. We just gonna keep it in publications. And that's how they marketed me.
I mean, I was buying all the Source back then.
I mean, a lot of us was. I was even buying that shit to see who was hot, who was on the mixtape, who album was rated this or that. And then sometimes, a lot of the times I want to read the articles. You get me? When they do those big layouts on the nigga, I was interested.
Yeah.
I want what the nigga came up from and what he went through and how he get to this point right now. Because you had to be a nice artist to get one of them 4-page spreads. You get me?
You really had to be special back then.
Exactly. Or they could just pay for it.
Yeah, one or the other.
You know what though, man? Everybody that had layouts.
I want to believe that half the time that they were putting niggas on because they were truly gifted and deserved it, and not the nigga just sent them a check for $100,000. You get me? No. Mm-hmm. Now we already know some artists. That's the way it went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people definitely was paying like that way, but for the most part, the source used to get it right when it came to that, dog. So I don't think I think they was so in tune with the culture at the time, man. That was like probably the best hip hop publication ever because they really made a break. If you saw somebody in there had 3 or 4 mics, if you saw a 5 mic, you was going to go buy that album because it was like it was official and they was on point with it. But I do think they had a lot of West Coast bias back then. I heard that was true. Soren told me that, and he said that they was very biased against the West Coast back then.
I'm sure.
He said they were very biased against the West Coast.
They were an East Coast publication. Like, you know, why would I give any love to the West Coast? We're East Coast publication. You know, go start your own motherfucking magazine. But
yeah, I ain't mad at that either.
You get me? Fuck that. We represent the East Coast. I never had no issue with the motherfuckers. They always put my ad.
Yeah.
You heard like when Benzino, when we went to go fuck with them, you know, I had an issue with them. They put me on the cover twice. I had
you know what, though, hey, you had love from New York, dog. New York love. You probably got more love in New York. You get a lot of love out here, bro. But between the Midwest and the East Coast, dog, I think you probably got to pop more out there than you do out here.
Didn't you do a song with Premier a couple years ago?
Oh yeah, Premier's my butt. That's my people.
I thought I heard it. I remember a track that you and Premier did, right?
I did a whole project with Premier back in 2017.
Okay,
we did a project together even before the end.
Bro, you know what song I still listen to? I swear on my mother, bro. That song, I be in the gym listening to the shit that you did with P Rock.
Oh yeah, One Life to Live.
Yeah, bro.
My son.
That was one of my favorite songs on that project.
I did that song and my son wasn't even born. And he loved that song to death right now.
Yeah.
One of his favorite songs.
Yeah,
and it kind of fucked me up because, you know, the youth, they into their shit, man. You don't particularly think that, you know, motherfuckers 21 and under is gonna be banging MC EIHT, but
now you did your thing on that record, bro. That was my shit.
He loved that shit, nigga. I was in the motherfucking where was I at? Where the fuck was I at? I can't even think where I was at now. I'm in the store somewhere. No, nigga, I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym chopping it up with one of my boys. And I see this dad walking by with his 2 kids. They couldn't have been no more. They couldn't have been no more than fucking 10 and 12. You get me? Nigga, the youngest one stopped, turned around and said, MC EIHT, is that you? Can I take a picture with you? I'm looking at myself like, where this little kid know me from? You know, but the younger generation is starting to get a little open to, you know, you hear me fuck, they heard me fuck with Kendrick. A lot of them play the Grand Theft Auto game and recognize me from there. So that's where the youth is connecting because a lot of them still on that game and the shit. And a lot of them still bumps Kendrick's first project. You get me?
Yeah, and it's a lot of people that play. It's a lot of people that play that game, like you said. Ain't a lot of them. Man, you was MC EIHT, man. I ain't gonna let you keep sitting up here and sleep on yourself. You was MC EIHT.
I just be trying to be mellow, man. You feel me? EIHT
kills me trying to act like he just a normal man.
I want to go. I want to go to the grocery store and pick up my dog food without, you know, niggas and paparazzi all outside and shit. I like that type of lifestyle though. I don't mind it. I don't complain about it. You get me?
Man, I was never the type to bother people when I saw them out in public. Probably because I was always hanging out. You know, DJ Bobcat is my god brother, right? Okay. So I was always with Bob, and I was used to being around, you know, people, celebrities and stuff. So I never went and bothered people because I used to hate when me and Bob would be somewhere and people would come and try to solicit. You know what I'm saying? It's like you trying to eat your food or whatever, and somebody's trying to give you a CD. You feel not a tape back then. You know, somebody trying to give you a tape, give you their demo and stuff, bro. People just don't want to be bothered. So I never was one to just run up on people in public. Hey, man, can I have your autograph? Or, hey, man, I bump. Now, if I saw him, I might say, hey, man, I like your shit or whatever like that, but I kept it moving.
Right.
I kept it pushing. So Gangu, where can people, man? You just don't mess with anybody, though, do you?
Yeah, I listen to everybody that got a case. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if it makes sense, we try to make it happen.
Now I'm gonna give y'all the plug to the homie, man, but don't be hitting them up if you don't sold 10 records through Empire and you talking about Empire owe you some money. They be stealing from you and stuff. He don't have time to fuck with nothing like that. This is for the majors out there that might have got robbed, might have got jerked. I'm pretty sure y'all got some money out here.
Them legacy artists.
Legacy artists. DJ Quick. Holla at Gangu, because I'm gonna tell you, when you see 8 pulling up in a Rolls Royce 7-8 months from now,
sounds good.
You know what I'm saying?
The legacy artists, I relate to them. They kind of motivate me more than dealing with these young guys. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm like, oh, sure, like it's so and so. It's just it feels like it's like one of my peers or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive, dog, that this man right here got a lot more money out there. I'm pretty sure DJ Quick, because he was on the most scandalous record label in the world.
I mean, Profile, like I said, I just don't. I mean, I got clients right now that haven't been, you're supposed to at least get a quarterly or biannual royalty statement, things like that. I got clients that are like, I haven't got a statement in 5-6 years or something like that. Then he might give you one statement, and then he'll disappear again for another 5 years.
You know what Spice One told me one day? Spice One told me he has never seen an album royalty. He said, I ain't never seen a royalty check.
That's what I said. I never seen a royalty check until last year. I had never seen a royalty from
30 years later.
Until last year. Until they contacted me and was like, nigga, where you been?
Right.
Damn near 40 years later.
I mean,
that's crazy.
At least they're paying you forward. You know what I'm saying? But I just believe that there's a guy like you that did that many projects. There's definitely more to get.
Yeah, they still got some more. Definitely.
Yeah. So Gangu, maybe what's the name of your business?
Copyright maintenance.
Copyright maintenance. That sound what it is. Copyright maintenance. They come in the rec shop, so you stealing ass record labels out there. My man Gangu is coming for you. He gonna come and lift the covers off your ass and expose everything going on. You know what?
You about to give me Michael Jackson, bro. Something about to happen to me the way you picking me up.
Well, you know what though, man? The thing is this. It's always been real simple to me because I'm a businessman. You take whatever you spent back. Like if you spent some money, you're supposed to recoup your money, right? But whatever situation you got with somebody, you give them their bread, you take yours so y'all can keep doing it. You don't rob nobody's stuff, bro, and just, I'm a pocket this and let them just go to oblivion. I don't care, because the thing is, without the talent, you ain't shit.
I hear you, man. I think they think it's a dime a dozen, and I think they think that they could take your money and you're still going to come and perform and try to do another album. You know what I'm saying? They just think they got it like that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I just think it's a new regime. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to change the game a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've seen people all my life, get jerked, from deals and stuff like that from all ages. And it's got to be somebody, you know what I'm saying? Somebody's got to, I think there just needs to be more of me, people even greater, you know what I'm saying? You got to have a little heart, you know what I'm saying?
They got some guys out here. I got to shout out to homie Jazzy Management. Jazzy is pretty good at what he do. He recovers a lot of stuff.
Okay, good for him.
He goes out and recovers a lot of money for cats. So there's a few cats out here, but it's also a whole bunch of.
We need the Voltron. We need the Voltron. We need to be a whole arms, legs, head, hands. You know what I'm saying?
Why you got good dudes like you and Jazzy? Why you got good dudes like you and Jazzy? What makes it bad is that it's a whole bunch of shade tree ass motherfuckers too that go out there. They say they hook you up and they steal. You feel what I'm saying?
We're the minority. We're the minority, man. It's easy to beat us up because there's only 2 in the park and there's 500 of them. You know what I'm saying? We running. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is an easy lick. Oh, they might have got him, but they didn't get all these other people. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm only picking little pieces, getting this guy. Bro, there's another 1,000, 2, 5, 10,000, 20,000 artists out there that are going through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, how many people am I helping a year? You know what I'm saying? It's nothing compared to what's out there. Am I really making a dent? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm tapping less than 1% of the industry.
Exactly.
I'm gonna link you and Jazzy up. Gangu, what's your Instagram, bro?
Hey man, Gongu Roach. Gongu. Gangu Roach. Instagram. Hit me in the DM. Let's chop it up and see what I could do for you, man.
Yeah, and you know, before we go, I want to say something.
I got the website coming. I already made it, but I just haven't really posted it. But that's copyright maintenance. Should be copyrightmaintenance.com or something like that. I mean, I'll put it in my tags sooner or later, probably within the next couple of days or so. But for right now, just reach me at Gongu Roach in the DM, and you can go watch my YouTube videos and YouTube. You know what I'm saying? And I tell you, you know, I'll tell you what my forte is, and hopefully you're inspired by it to give me a call.
Yeah, for sure. And on that note right there, I want to tell everybody something, man. Life is short. Don't spend it on bullshit. We out of here.
Hey, man, thank you once again. This is one of my more favorite interviews, man. You know, I get to talk to Nate and talk about all this old stuff, bro. This makes me feel like I was like 17, 18, bro.
I'll be telling Nate he gotta have it. I'll be telling Eight, man, because sometimes I feel bad because we have somebody on the show and Eight be on the road or something be happening, and you could tell they don't want to stay like still you cool and stuff. They're like, man, damn, I really wish Eight was here because I wanted to meet him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, dog, don't worry, we gonna get you back on. We interviewed one of the homies, and I tell you, man, I promise you, when Eight come back, dog, we got you.
Hey, man, anytime you need, man, I'm here, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for everything.
You know what, bro? I'm gonna get with you. Actually, we out of here. They don't need to hear all this. Hold on.
For sure.
Hold on.